Robert. I want to welcome you to our interview series. I'm so excited to have a bit of information, a bit of a chat about coming at it from a business point of view. So tell us all about Robert Bonifacio coaching. Tell us about Robert. How did Robert get here? Tell us everything.
Excellent. Well, thank you for inviting me along today. Where did my journey start? Well, let me give you a very brief snapshot. I started in 1986 in the financial services industry, and I spent 30 years in the financial services industry. I spent half of that on the corporate side and half of it in my own business. So I sold my business in 2016 and decided to go down the coaching and mentoring path. In essence, I had probably for the majority of my life in financial services been coaching and mentoring anyway. So I underwent a program called Ultimate Coach Professional to understand the framework for coaching, how to be a coach, because anyone can be a coach, but I wanted to understand the framework. So I underwent that framework through a program that I mentioned. It took me about 12 months to do that. And then I began coaching and mentoring. And from there, I created what I call my Elevate program, which is the 7 keys to business success, which is based on what I know and what I've learnt and what I've done, really. So I actually didn't know back then someone could go to a shelf and buy a program and market that. I didn't do that. I actually created my own. So Elevate's
Yeah.
my own program. And part of Elevate, we look at 7 key areas, but one of the areas that I find benefits a lot of people is how to manage your time,
Yeah.
in essence. So I suppose that's why we're here today. But in
That is
essence,
brilliant.
yeah, the
Yeah.
time efficiencies for all of us is a really integral part, whether it's in business or in life.
Yeah.
It's an integral part of everything for all of us. So
Yeah. And that's exactly right. And I am going off topic. I know we've got our questions, but I just find it's one of the biggest challenges people find is how do I fit in everything I need to do into my day? And we can talk through some of your suggestions, ideas. But yeah, it's a huge stress, especially for business owners who are generally the CEO, the financial person, the marketer, the
everything, jack of all
HR
trades.
person. Exactly. How do you fit all that into your day and get the work done? So,
Correct.
yeah,
Yes. That's a tricky business. In essence, the short answer is it's a bit tricky.
it is true.
But there are some things to look out for, and we will share some of those today. And I hope really that people who are watching this today can take one or two gold nuggets that suit them,
Yeah,
because there are so many. I'll call them tricks and traps, but they're not really. Really, in essence, it's depending on where you are today and where you want to go as to which gold nuggets are actually going to best influence you in your life. So I can guarantee there'll be some gold nuggets. I just don't know which ones they'll be for your viewers.
absolutely. Yeah, no, that's so good to hear. All right, so let's jump in. I'll go to the first question. Many business owners feel stuck in the reactive cycle of daily tasks rather than driving purposefully toward their goals. This is a hard sentence. What's the very first life admin habit you recommend someone put in place to regain control of their time?
It's interesting. It's a really, really good question, actually. And once again, I think the answer is going to be different for everyone because I don't know what they're doing and what they're not doing.
Yeah,
I would start with first getting them to ask themselves what needs to change and why.
yeah,
Okay, because they want to change something, but they actually don't know why. So really deep dive into that and ask yourself that question. But it also gets you to ask yourself, well, what's getting in my way at the
yeah,
moment? Because if you understand why you want to change and why it's important to you and what's getting in the way, we have a great starting point. And then I'd want them to identify what's going to release the pressure the quickest. So, what's going to help them relieve some of that pressure? From there, I'm going to say the thing that I would want them to do is actually write down all the things that they've got up here
mhm,
that are probably creating all sorts of confusion. So I love lists. I've got a bit of paper here, even though you and I are talking, just in case I need to write
you
something
need
down.
some, yeah,
So, and I say write down, it could be type it on a list. It could be write it on a whiteboard. It could be write it on a bit of paper, but it's about getting it out of up here. That's the
yeah,
starting point, I would say. And I suppose people also need to realize, in my experience, to change some things in your life, you need to change some things in your life. So where do we start? Well, we really want to create an understanding of what we want to get done. Okay. Now, this applies whether it's if you run a business or
Mhm.
whether you're dealing with life at home outside of business. But the things that we're going to talk about today, I know there's a direct crossover because the things that you generally do at work tend to cross over at home and vice versa. So
Yeah, yeah,
they become one of the same. So we'll talk about some of those things, but I'm going to ask them to write down a list of the things that they want to get done. And then the next thing I would do is look at that list of things and start to prioritize them. Because that list, everyone's going to be different, can be quite short or quite long. I'm going to guess for people whose life is really, really busy, the list is quite long
yeah,
and they just don't know where to start. So I'm going to start to prioritize. The question then becomes is how do I prioritize that? So that's where I look at what are the most important things in your life. Now, if we look at life, I'm going to say for a lot of people, let's call it admin of life.
hmm,
For example, sometimes paying bills
yeah,
is something that just needs to be done. Dealing with whether you get those bills through electronic means these days or in the mail, you're still going to get correspondence that that bill needs to be paid. But anyway, prioritizing what's important. Is it paying bills? Is it doing chores? Is it something else? Is it managing family for those who've got family? Is it managing yourself?
yeah,
Because I think at the core of everything we do, and I'll talk about this more than once today, got to look after ourselves at the center of that. Because if we're not looking after ourselves, then the rest is not going to get looked after anyway. Because if we're driving it, we've got to look after ourselves in a whole lot of different ways. So I'm going to say the first thing I would suggest people do is get things out of here, write it down, and
yeah,
then start to prioritize. Now, prioritize is really interesting because then you can start to look at your list and depending on what's on that list, there'll be things that have dates and need to be completed by date. So, for example, a bill I know needs to be paid by this date. So maybe if I know that date, I can say, well, I don't have to worry. I write the date down. I don't have to worry about that for a month.
yeah,
But if I need to go to an appointment of sorts, I know the date of that. Let me write that appointment down. Do I need to do anything for that appointment? So having dates next to things I find really helpful because it helps to prioritize. And a bit later on, I'll talk about a priority filter. And dates form an important part of that priority filter. So those dates give you time frames that allow you to, I suppose, control the controllables.
yeah,
What can I control? I don't have to worry about that for a month or a year or a week, or I've only got 10 minutes and I need to do it. That's going to be really helpful. So if you ask me for where would I start, I know that's a long answer to a question, but
no,
there's not one thing. There's a
that's
number of
exactly right.
things that you can start to do
Yeah.
on that list.
Well, the thing I'm sort of picking up, and you did mention it when we were chatting earlier, is even though you work on, getting success in your business, a whole heap of that is actually to do with getting success in your personal life. As a business owner, it all gels into one a lot of the time.
Correct. Well,
Yeah,
I think the things we do at home are similar to the way we do things at work and vice versa. I don't think there are too many people that are different people when they leave home or when they leave work. They're generally the same person. So
that's right.
whether it's habits or traits or the way you do things generally has a crossover. So there's a direct correlation. There might always be the exception to the rule, but I think that what you're trying to do is you are at the center of that. Start by looking after yourself and identifying how you're doing things. What are the bottlenecks? Why do I want to change things? And what's
Yeah,
getting in the way of me doing that at the moment? Because I think if you start to look at that, is it I can't manage my time? Is it there's too much to do? Is it what is it for you?
yeah,
And then we can start to work through, okay, so it might be that you need to change a habit or a process or the way you look at something. What is it for you that's getting in the way of you getting stuff done? Is it
yeah.
I literally don't have time, but we all have 168 hours in a week.
Yes, that's right.
So here's a little tip. I mean, we actually can't manage time. The only thing we can manage is how we use our time.
That's right.
So therefore, we need to look at how we're using our time. How are we prioritizing things? And it can be really difficult because for a lot of people, we've been doing something in a particular way for so long, it's been ingrained in us to do it that way. So now someone's saying do it differently. So I'm going to give you a bit of a chop out here to everyone is you can give yourself a break. You can't
Yeah,
change overnight, can you?
that's right.
Really, really difficult for people
Yeah,
to do that. So you're going to be able to change over time. And it's about knowing what you want to change. And If it doesn't go right tomorrow, then make the next day better.
That's exactly right. I'm a big fan of James Clear and Atomic Habits, and it's just one small little thing at a time.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
Yes.
one change
Well,
a
because,
day can make
I
all
use
the
the
difference.
analogy, a lot of people have New Year's resolutions. This is an example. They might say, I haven't been to the gym. I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week from now on, and I'm going to be better for it. And my advice to people would be actually, if you've never been to the gym, can we start with once a week for a month?
Yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah,
then if we've succeeded at that, can we go for 5 times a week for a month, 5 times in a
5 times
month?
in a
And
month.
how
Yeah.
can we build on it so we're changing a habit? Because if you go from doing nothing to trying to do 7 days a week, I'm going to say it's virtually guaranteed to fail.
Well, that is one thing. And I am one of those people that does really try to get to gym each day. And it really does impact your time. It's not the 45-minute class or the 1 hour class. It's the 20 minutes to get there, the 20 minutes to get home, the chatting of 10 minutes while you're there. So,
All those things. But for someone so you're in the habit of doing that, so you
yes.
understand the time that it takes. But someone who's never done it, all of a sudden they've got to find, for example,
Yeah.
2 hours,
It's
and
2 hours a day.
you're trying to find 2 hours every day.
Yeah.
That's a really hard task, isn't it? But if we can find 2 hours once a week,
Yes.
does that become a bit
Exactly.
easier until we build the habit and the routine of being able to do that?
Yes. And trust me, it's a 5 a.m. start to be able to do that.
All right, I get it. I'm a walker. I
Yes.
enjoy walking and exercising or swimming.
Yeah.
I swim twice a week as well. So it's building into your
Into
life's routine. I
That's
mean,
right.
you'll probably be similar to this. I've been walking for so long, and I'm not exaggerating here. I've probably been walking and exercising before work for an excess of 25 years.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And that some people go, well, that's just ridiculous. Well, I'm telling you it's true. And what happens now is when I don't, because
Yeah.
occasionally something happens and I can't, it
Yep.
feels really weird to me that I
Yes.
haven't been able to do that. It happens occasionally, but the intent is there's always something 7 days a week.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally understand that. It's good for the mental health.
Exactly.
Now, let's go through the next one. You talk about the importance of focusing on what's truly valuable each day rather than just being busy. How do you personally decide what's a high payoff activity versus something that should be delegated or dropped?
Yeah, the high path activity question is really, really good because work potentially could be different from home
Yeah.
because you spoke about delegating. So if you run a business and you have staff, there's someone else that could potentially do a job. We'll deal with that in a second. At home, if it's just you, potentially you may not be able to delegate, but you may be able to outsource.
Yes.
Okay. But if you have a family, then delegation becomes an option as well because there are other members of the family that can do things. So the first thing to do is work out, okay, can I get someone else to do this? Because my time, and I want people to look at it this way, high payoff activities say, how do I determine if my time is valuable here or more valuable somewhere else?
Yeah,
That's what really high path activities come down to.
exactly. Yeah.
Where is my time the most valuable? And I'll give you an example, a home example. Some people might go, I don't want to do the lawns on the weekend at home. Okay.
Yeah.
My time is more valuable than that. Well, so lawns is something that you can outsource.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay. So you can
Yeah.
outsource that. Now or you can delegate. There might be someone else in the household you go, actually, you should be doing the lawns.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you can outsource, you get a third party in and you go, I'm happy to pay you X because by you doing this for me, I'm going to be able to do this thing over here,
Yeah.
which is far more important. Now, on the
That's
weekend, it
right.
might be family time, it might be something else.
Yeah, and it could be work time. If you've got
Could be
someone else
work.
doing the lawns, it could be you having that extra 2 hours to spend on whatever it is in business that you just don't get time for. So,
Correct. Now, I
yeah.
would argue with my clients that the lawns are something you do on the weekend. On the weekend, you shouldn't be doing work.
Yes.
Okay, it's managing your time, but I understand what you're saying. You're exactly
Yes.
right. Where is my time the most valuable? And I suppose it comes down to how do you define value? Because
Yes.
at
Yeah.
work, we can say my time is worth X amount per hour.
Yeah.
We can put an hourly rate on that. At home, not quite the same formula, I don't think, because at home, the sort of things that can be important, family, for example, how do you put a price on the value of spending time with children and partners. Well, I don't
Mm.
think you can.
No,
It's just
that's
a high
exactly right.
priority.
But that's where the high payoff comes in. Yeah, like I see that like a high payoff is going to gym, spending time with family, because they're the things that no one else can do that. And yet
Yes,
they're so good for your mental health that it brings you into Monday.
correct.
You've spent your weekend doing the high payoff things personally.
Yes. And you talk about self, and self is such an important topic that I think more people are understanding how important it is to look after ourselves. We're just going to be just look after yourself before partner and children.
Yeah,
And it's like the analogy of in an aeroplane, if the mask dropped down, put one on your face first
that's
so
right.
you can look after the people around you. Well, home is a little bit the same and work. If you're at the
Exactly.
center of that, how you look after yourself, whether it's gym, whether it's so that's physical, it might be mental. What are the things that you need in your life to put you in the best position you need to be in? It'll come down to things like sleep is valuable, nutrition, hydration, all those things you
Exactly.
need to consider important to look after you. So you become a high payoff activity because if you're looking after you, and you're feeling better and you can do more and be more because that's what you want, then why wouldn't you spend more time on that and get someone else to do the lawns for you?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it comes to business too, and I've been through this myself as a business owner, you really do need to consider when it comes to the high payoff in business, what is it that you're actually, and this took me, believe it or not, a long time to get my head around. What is it that you're actually good at that you should be doing in the business? And what is it that you can pass on? Because it took me a long time to go, I'm actually good at doing the work. And a lot of
Yes.
people kept telling me, don't do the work. And it took me a long time to go, but actually, I'm very good at it. So,
Yes.
so it makes more sense for me to do the work.
Correct. And I take it a bit further. If you're good at it and you love it,
Yes,
if you're good at it and you love it, well, keep doing that. Don't do the stuff that you hate.
that's right.
Give that to
Exactly.
someone else.
Yeah.
And it's getting that balance right. I mean, I was talking with a client last week, a business owner, who we had this very conversation as a business owner, and they still did the payroll for
Yeah.
their business. And they said, I just hate that.
Oh, well. Yeah. Yeah.
And we had the conversation. Ironically enough, I got an email from them this morning saying, I spoke to my accountant. They're now doing my payroll. He
Look
said,
at that.
I feel fantastic. And if you can get rid of the stuff you hate and do more of the stuff you love, well, that's looking after yourself as well.
That's exactly right. Yeah, totally. Life and business, I totally agree.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's have a look at this one. When your own schedule gets overloaded, whether it's client work, planning, or admin, what's one system or ritual you use to clear the headspace and simplify what's on your plate?
Yeah, and I think I go back to what I said earlier. For me, and it'll be different for other people. Firstly, get it out of here
Yeah,
and get it onto a bit of paper or a whiteboard or onto something that you can see it. So that's the first thing. I think it's getting it out of your head. I don't know about you, but there's so much that's gone on in my life that it gets jumbled up in there. Whereas if I put it on a bit of paper, I've also got a whiteboard. I can
yeah,
put my priorities down on the whiteboard and look at it and go, okay, if I get, here's a question you need to ask yourself. Of all the things that I need to get done, what are the top three things that if I got done today would just make my day the way it should be? And
yeah,
let's start with those. What are the most
absolutely.
important things that I need to do? And it doesn't just have to be daily. You might build into your life a routine. And I'll give you an example. You might decide from a home point of view that I will, for example, I'll pay all my bills on a Thursday because I just deal with them on a Thursday. May not be Thursday, just pick a
Yeah,
day. I just do my bill work on a Thursday, or it might be I have all my bills on direct debit. I don't have to worry about it. They just get
exactly.
paid.
Yes, I have
Yes,
been wanting to mention that, but yes,
yeah, that's it. So,
yes,
what are the systems and routines that you
exactly.
can build into
Yeah,
dealing with admin of life rather than have to deal with bills as they come in? A bill comes in and I'll put it in the tray over here, and that's a Thursday problem.
yeah, that's right.
Where does that go? And so my routine is built around the things that are happening in my life that I can manage, control. I'll go back to what I mentioned earlier. It's controlling the controllables.
Yeah,
So the other thing I would add to that, a system, it might be there'll be I have in my diary different times of day or week or fortnight where I do certain things. Pops up in my diary. So I
Yeah.
know that's when I do it. So what system can you build? And you might have time in your diary. Goes back to looking after self, where it might be admin of life. Monday night, I don't do anything. Monday's just for me.
Yeah.
Or it might be Monday night, I just go to the gym and everything else can wait till after that. What are the routines you can build into your diary that allow you to have some clarity about how to deal with all the important things? If you're a keen gardener, I just do my lawns on a Sunday afternoon because that's the way I've always done it. What are the
Yeah.
things that you can, every Sunday, I'm going to spend some time in the garden, for example?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's really important to have those life and business. I totally agree. Slot it into the calendar. And it actually gives you just that freedom to go, oh, I got that done. I know it's going to be done then. And it just makes you feel so much better.
Well, that's the thing too, is if you start to build those routines, let's use build, and you go, look, every Thursday I take care of my bills. I don't have
Mm.
to worry about it till Thursday. And then I just tick it off the list and I know that it's done. Or if I enjoy my gardening, I know I'm going to just do the garden. It looks a bit ratty at the moment, but it'll be right. I'll get to it on Sunday. I've
On
got an hour
Sunday.
allocated or 2 hours or whatever you want. Set a
Exactly.
time frame. You might set a time frame. It's not an infinite list. It just goes, at this time, I'm going to spend a half hour doing this or an hour doing that,
Spot on.
or I'm going to spend 2 hours on a Monday or a Tuesday because I go and do an exercise class at the gym.
Yeah.
For me, I go for a swim Tuesday morning. I will be in the pool tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock because that's what I've always done.
And I suppose that's the one thing too, and I'm sure you'd agree, is quite often you see people underestimate how long something's going to take. Like, be realistic. If you're going out in the garden, there's no point allowing 15 minutes. You want to get things done. There's an hour, there's 2 hours, 3 hours. Be realistic on how long these jobs are going to take.
And that's where time becomes your friend as well, because over time, you will learn how much time you need to allow for those jobs. Even
Yeah,
the admin of life stuff, whether it be
yeah,
if you do house cleaning, meal prep, or going to the shops, you know how much time you need to allow. And it's okay to allow a bit of buffer time. So
yeah,
you might allow an hour and a quarter to do a particular job. And if you do it in an hour, you've got a 15-minute break there that you can just relax and chill if you need to.
yeah,
There'll always
exactly.
be something else that comes up. So I think building those routines and systems that suit you, getting things out of your head and working out what a priority is, and then building systems around that, it will start to make some changes to the way you do things. Now, I'll also add there'll be things that you are really good at. If you like doing it, as you said, keep doing that. But think about, what do I need to stop doing?
Yeah,
What do I need to start doing? And what do I need to allow more time for? What do I need to allow less time for?
yeah,
What are the things that you are aware of in your life that you go, I see that's what's happening there. That's
exactly.
getting in my way. So awareness plays a really important part into making change, because I'm guessing if you want to better use your time, you're looking to make some changes. So identifying what the things are that you need to change or stop doing or start doing is a really helpful way of doing it.
Absolutely. And when it comes to allowing time, 2 hours on the phone to Qantas today for a client. So make sure you allow that time.
Maybe don't use Qantas then. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
saying Qantas. I'm just saying.
2 hours. It was crazy.
My
Anyway.
goodness.
Anyway. Okay. So many of us feel bogged down, not by big decisions, but lots of little ones. Uh,
Yes.
says here, small ones. How do you reduce decision fatigue in your everyday life? And what's one choice you've automated or streamlined for good?
Okay. Well, decision fatigue is really interesting. Maybe it's a whole lot of different things. Let's go with understanding why you need to make a decision and how you make decisions. What are the reasons you need to make decisions? And what do you need to make decisions on? And is it solely your decision,
Yeah.
or are there others involved in the decision? Because all those things play a particular part in there. I also find really helpful, especially when there's someone else involved, when you need to resolve something, don't just do it in your mind, try and verbalize it. So if I say to you, Lisa, I really need to decide whether I need to do A, B, and C because of X, Y, Z, and you and I are talking about it, you will be so surprised how often me talking about it, and I will have a light bulb moment that goes, I know the answer already
It's
because I've
exactly right.
verbalized it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. How often do you do that? Don't worry, I've got the answer. I
I
just
got
had to
the
say it
answer.
out
That's
loud.
it.
Yeah.
So, if you talk about admin of life, it may be a partner, maybe a close friend. You might have a problem you need to deal with if you don't have a partner and you want to just talk to a friend, catch up for a coffee and go, look, I just want to talk through this with someone and you're my best friend or a close friend or what have you. I just need you to listen because I'll sort it out myself.
Yeah,
I just need someone else to be there.
that's exactly right. It happens all the time. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it actually goes like hearing you say that, yeah, it's actually a really good way to answer that. Like sometimes you think there are so many little decisions to make, but literally just talking it out loud, it's like, wait, it's not as bad as I thought.
correct.
Yeah.
And also knowing when to make decisions. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I'm tired and grumpy, happens
Yeah.
occasionally, it's not a
Great.
good time to make decisions.
Yeah.
So think about when is the best time to make a decision. Like for most people, it's earlier in the day.
Yeah.
Now, it's not always possible, but if it is possible, try and make decisions when you're at your best.
That's right.
Like, I'll give you an example. From a work point of view, statistically, Tuesday for most people is the most productive day of the
Wow.
week.
Yep.
The least productive is Friday. And if you want to use decision analogy and use that best, most productive time of day, Tuesday is a better day to make decisions than Friday,
Yeah.
potentially.
And isn't that funny? So if you're running like I suppose in business, yeah, you want to come up with some business ideas. Yeah.
Be
Organize those meetings
creative. Yeah.
for a Tuesday.
Correct. And you
Love
want to
that.
do your best work when you're at your best, don't you?
Yeah.
So knowing when you're at your best, surprisingly enough, I find for most people they're at their best before lunch.
Yep.
And
Agree.
after lunch, we tend to not be quite the same as before lunch, not at our
My words
best.
come to me far better in the morning than they do
Yeah,
in the
correct.
afternoon.
So making decisions is really important. So if you want to verbalize what you want to decide, that will help you. But think about the outcomes that you want to achieve. And, maybe sometimes you've got to think about the pros and cons, call on past experiences. I think the important part with decisions is making a decision. So if you convince yourself that I need to resolve this now, because this is the best time, try and come to a decision. Otherwise, you have this white noise.
Yeah.
And that's because I haven't made a decision. I'm still toing and froing. If you allow more time to work through the decision you need to make, some are bigger than others. I get it.
That's right.
But you don't want to bombard yourself with trying to decide 20 things at once.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another tip might be sometimes it's okay to say no.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
We have to
Yes.
learn sometimes to say, no, I can't do that right now, or
Yes.
no, I'm not able to, or I've just got other priorities at the moment. Can that wait? So being quite open with where you sit in a particular situation or particular time in your life, and someone asks you to decide on something, admin of life might be, do you want to come out to dinner? The answer might automatically be yes, but you go, actually, I can't because I've got this other thing going on. So this time I have to say no.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Let me
Yeah.
just park that. I want to take a rain check. I just can't do that date and move on to the next one. So making the decision rather than procrastinating is going to be very helpful.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, looking back on your experience coaching professionals across industries, what's one life admin mistake you see people make again and again, and what's the simplest shift they could make today to fix it?
Probably a lot. I just mentioned it actually. Ironically enough, what a perfect segue. I think it's procrastination. When
Oh, absolutely.
they look at the things that need to be done and they go, I'll do that later, I'll do that later, I'll do that later. But you might have had this experience, Lisa, is when you actually start something and you get your teeth into it, once you've started, you go, oh, that wasn't so bad after all.
Yeah, yes. And you actually feel good once you get it done. It's like, why didn't I do that
Correct.
months ago?
So I suppose the hurdle is procrastination, taking the first step. And some people might look at a particular task and go, oh, it's just too big.
It's
I
too big.
just don't have enough bandwidth at the moment to deal with that. The thing I would do is, depending on the level of importance of that big task, is look at it and try and break it down and go, actually,
Absolutely.
there's probably 3 or 4 parts to this.
Yeah.
If I do part A now, then it buys me more time
Yeah.
and I can do part B another time. So it's looking at a particular, don't look at the whole project, whether it's work or whether it's admin of life. Try and break it down and go, if I do that, it buys me time. If I do that and that, wow, then that shifts it to someone else. How
Yeah.
good is that when you can shift the next part onto someone else? So break it down, look at your task list, look at the top 3 things, and know I suppose, know when the best time to deal with something is.
Yeah,
If you've got a task that's going to take you 2 hours and you've got 15 minutes, I wouldn't start that project.
exactly right.
If I've
Yes.
only got 15 minutes, what's the thing that I can do in that 15 minutes? Because if I need 2 hours, I'm fairly certain sometimes if you need 2 hours and you just give it your entire focus, you'll actually do it in an hour and three quarters. You'll actually buy yourself time if you're focused and you don't have distractions.
It's exactly right. Yeah.
So procrastination is where it is. I tell you, I don't know if you've heard of Stephen Bartlett, but Stephen Bartlett wrote a book called The Diary of a CEO, which I haven't happened to have here. You can't see it. Diary of a CEO. And in there, he's got a great quote in that book. He talks about the fact that I can give you 1,000 hacks to help you with your time.
Yeah.
But unless you bring an element of self-discipline,
Yeah.
none of those hacks are going to work.
That's right.
So you really need to find a dose of self-discipline in what you do and
Yeah.
start small.
Yeah.
What are the things that you can start to do or stop doing that are going to help you in that process? That's where I would go with dealing with life admin mistakes, really, and set timeframes. Know
Yeah.
the time frame that you have. So all the tasks that you have, whether it's on your bit of paper, your whiteboard, or something you've written down, is know when it needs to be done because that provides an element of clarity as well. So that's where I would go with that. Look at whether you can delegate stuff, but also look at the stuff that you're doing. Go, do I actually really need to do that? Do I know I
That's
want to
exactly
do it.
right.
Do I
Yeah.
want to? Do I want to move forward, or do I want to be productive, or do I want to be busy? We can all be busy. I can be as busy as you like. Doesn't mean I'm achieving anything.
Yeah.
So I really need to look at what I'm doing, have that element of self-discipline in there, and look at making sure whether it's my life or my business is moving forward so that I'm achieving some of the things that I need to do. You need to take action. You need to do something. You can't just have a to-do list and go, okay, I've got my to-do list now, be done. It doesn't work. You've actually
That's
got
right.
to do something with it.
That's exactly right. And quite often too, I'll find sometimes there'll be a bigger task. Yes, today was a big one that I had to be on the phone to Qantas. That
Yes,
that was 2 hours. And that's the sort of thing I do when if there's something else I'm doing, I might be doing my BAS or something else that's quite mindless.
mindless. Yes, yes,
Mindless, and yet I can stay on the phone and I can keep an eye on both things. But the other thing I find is I'm going to use, say, an insurance claim, for example. You might sit there and go, oh, this is going to take me hours. When actually, when you start it, you find that each step only takes 10 or 15 minutes. So it's just
correct.
take that first step to get it off your plate, and you'll be surprised and go, oh, wait, that only took me 10 minutes. So,
Yes.
yeah,
And it takes a bit of practice to get into that habit of
yeah,
looking at a bigger project going, actually, this has got more steps than I need to deal with all today. Let
exactly.
me just do part A and B, or
Yeah,
or let me pick up the phone to Qantas and start that
and
process.
start. That's
Okay,
right.
and start. So starting is probably procrastination is the problem. Starting is the answer,
Is
I
the answer.
suppose. You've actually got to
Exactly.
take some action with that.
Absolutely.
So it goes back to change some things in your life. You've got to change some things in your life, and where you procrastinate, look at it and go, but what can I do in the time that I have available today? And
Yeah,
do I really need to do it now? It's due on this date. I've got some time, or I don't have enough time. I actually really need to do that now. But you don't want to be working from a place of always under pressure. That's where
that's
the
right.
dates are important. You want to be scheduling time for things to be done if you know when they're due, because that takes away the pressure element.
That's
I
exactly
try and avoid being working under pressure. Some people say I just perform better under pressure. I'm not sure that that's always actually true.
no, and that's just it. Understand that there'll be certain timelines where you might think I perform better under pressure, but you can't do it permanently.
That's it. It
Yeah,
might be a once every now and again. And I suppose, look, managing time, which is what we're really on about, well, actually managing self so that you can manage time. I suppose the question I would also ask people is to think about when you tick things off your list, and I love ticking things off my list.
I
I
know.
actually do the thing and write it down so that I can tick it off. That's
So
how
that
much
you
I
can
like
tick
my
it off.
list.
Yeah,
But if
that's
you can
right.
tick things off your list, I would say most people say it makes me feel good to cross things off
Yeah.
or tick them off my list.
Yeah. There's certain programs you can use, and one of them, believe it or not, is just Google Tasks. And it just has this, it just the way you can tick it off and it goes into completed straight away. It's like this, it's a wonderful feeling. Whereas there are other programs where you tick it and it stays in there.
Stays there. That's
And
right.
it's like,
Yes.
what's the point of that?
Yes. Because we don't, I think it's about looking at how do I continue to feel wonderful. Uh,
Yeah.
if you looked at your to-do list and know that if I did those 3 things today off my list, how good would it feel? And I
Absolutely.
keep doing that all the time, and I build a system and a routine and a process to do that, and it makes you feel good, then I think that's part of looking after self, because looking
That's
after
right.
self, it's a bit about gratitude, isn't it? I'm grateful that I did that. Makes
Yeah,
me feel good. I'm looking after me. I'm not putting myself under pressure.
exactly. Yeah. That's the end of my questions. Is there anything else you want to tell us about Robert Bonifacio coaching?
Look, no, look, I love helping people with their time, whether it's business. I mean, if you can get that, I was going to say get it right. I'm still refining what I do. I don't know you ever get it right. I think what you need to think about is if you're heading down this path for the first time, trying to change some things, I would suggest you ask yourself at the end of each week, how did I go this week? I set
Great
myself
idea.
some tasks. What did I do well? What can I do better? And what did I learn from that process? And just because you slipped up doesn't mean you need to give up. You just need to get, for one of it, to use a common phrase, you need to get back on the horse next week or
That's
tomorrow.
exactly right. Yeah.
And that's
And also,
okay. It's really difficult to change some old habits, but you do it better over time. And if you just look at continuing to refine your skill and what you do and how you do it and have the awareness, I think it's going to help. I have read plenty of books, and there's lots of books, whether it's The Diary of a CEO, and I also like Getting Things Done by Dave Allen. One of my favorite books, if you want to look after yourself, there's a book called Ikigai, The Japanese Way of a Happy Life.
it's
Looks
actually on
like
my
this.
list. It's actually the next one on my list.
If you haven't read it, well, you need to read it, and all your listeners need to read it. The 10
Yeah.
things, the secret to a long and happy life, there's 10 things in there,
Yeah.
and one of them is looking after yourself and having purpose. I'm not going to give you the rest, but it's one of my favorite books, not
Yeah.
only as a book to read, but it just feels nice as a book as well. So there's plenty of books that can help you, plenty of podcasts that can help you. Find the thing. You might say, I will read a personal self-help book. I might read 2 pages a day. I might listen to a podcast a week. What are the things that you can do that help contribute? Because it's the ongoing refinement when you've had bad habits, it's the ongoing consistency that is going to refine how you use your time.
That's exactly right.
I suppose that's about probably, there's lots of things in there. I would encourage people to potentially look at it again and go, what's the 1 or 2 things I want to take from this and apply next week?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Start with that. What's the
Re-
1 or 2 things
really
I
good.
want to apply next week? You
Yeah.
can't take them all if you've never done them, but hopefully there's 1 or 2 or 3 gold nuggets in there. The last thing I would add is sometimes we think we're doing things really well, but we have personal blind spots. You need a close friend where you can ask some really in-depth questions and say, look, I need you to help me out here, Lisa. I think I do this really well, but I
Yeah.
need someone to tell me what I can't see.
Yeah.
Give me some home truths. So some people out there might need some home truths. Who's going to be the person to help you with that? A trusted
Absolutely.
friend, and
Yeah.
you need to take it in the spirit that it's meant. If you're looking for help, sometimes we can't see what we can't see because we have blinkers on. So they might help take your blinkers off. So I've got nothing else to really add. I've really enjoyed it.
Great. I'm so glad. I really do appreciate it. It's great to have that correlation between business success and how your life actually impacts that in such a big way. So, yeah, please, I just say to everyone, please follow us on the Life Balance Essentials YouTube page and go in and follow Robert, all his wisdom. And thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you very much. And if you need anything, just please reach out. Thank you very much.
Cheers.